You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. How do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, my God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your step. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Freedom, Health and Lifestyle. This is personal development with a plan. And listen, I'm really looking forward to today. I don't know if Joey's going to get here. Of course, this is Joey and Mick live. I'm Mick, and of course I'm coming in from Ireland. And of course Joey's in Australia. Joey's in the army. He was on telly last week. I hope you saw him. It was amazing. You can find him on his Facebook page. Hold on, I'll get that for you now. Take a look. Right, so go find Joey Unger, facebook.com/Joey.Unger. Check him out. Hopefully he'll be back next week. I think he was gone for 3 weeks, maybe more. I don't know. But it's going to be fun anyway. So, look, I'm looking forward to today because I'd mentioned last week about the Napoleon Hill Master Key. And I listened to this maybe a couple of years ago. Great book. I listened to it a couple of years ago. And in conjunction with that other book that I love so much, The Science of Getting Rich, and you know, that quote that I talk about all the time by Buckminster Fuller, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you've got to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. You know, and I suppose it all started from there, from that quote. You know, because it was like, how do you create a new model? based on your thinking. So you have to change your thinking first to be able to build a new model. But one of the Napoleon Hill's master key episodes is episode 11, and we're going to listen to it. So it's not very long, but I would recommend that you go to the Master Key Society. I've got it here. Look, this is that's not it. This is it here, the Master Key Society. In fact, I'll show you actually. Let me share the screen. Right, okay, so this is the Master Key Society. So can I do it this way? That might be better, is it? Let me have a look. Let me make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? Why am I making it smaller? Master Key Society. Maybe I will do it the other way around. Hold on a second. Yeah, Master Key Society. 1.2 million subscribers, 71 videos, and of course, look, there's all kinds of different books in here. This is the one that we're going to be going through, but I recommend you definitely go through it. Think and Grow Rich, one of the best books ever written. I love that book. Let's just go here. There is a great book in here, actually. I don't know whether we'll find it as we're going through. Maybe we will. What's that? The Science of Being Great by Wallace D. Wattles. I did start listening to that the other week. Power of Awareness by Neville. It's very good, that book. There's one in Think and Grow Rich, definitely, absolutely. 30-Day Challenge. The Life Power and How to Use It. These books are really kind of old, right? 50, 60, 100 years old. How to Promote Yourself. That was an interesting book, actually. I listen to these books all the time, just when I'm driving around. So I definitely recommend going to the Master Key Society. Their link is on the screen. The link's in the description. Go and check them out. Give them a like, share. And there was one here, Richest Man in Babylon. That's an amazing book. Definitely worth read that. Science of Getting Rich. There, of course. But there's another one. I can't see. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. As a Man Thinketh, that's good. Napoleon, we're going to do that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But listen, go and check them out. I think you'll enjoy this channel. It's fun. It's fun. I drive around during the day and I have it on, listening to it. Yeah, definitely worth it, right? So go and check that out. So, but this is the one that we're going to be looking at today, the Napoleon Hill, episode 11. I'm already lined up. The great thing about this this channel is that they kind of they lay it all out for you, right? So even you've got all these little kind of, you can just jump between the chapters. So it's definitely worth going and have a look. They put a lot of work into it, I think. So definitely go and check that out for sure. Right. Okay. So what else do we need to do? First, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click that notification button. But usually on around about the same time every week, But the channel's really about thinking and doing better. That's really what it's all about. But I suppose before we get into this, let me just share, I suppose a little bit about my background, right? So obviously my name is Mick McQuillan, and of course I own a company called Pets Others Ireland. Now, Pets Others Ireland is Ireland's largest, most recommended, most trusted in-home pet care company. Been around about a decade and a half, delivered well over 500,000 pet care services to thousands and thousands of customers all over Ireland. And it's a privilege because we get to look after these amazing little creatures. It helps pet owners feel better about something that makes them feel bad. And that's really what we do. And of course, we're always trying to look at ways of growing and expanding our business. And, obviously I was looking at that quote, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you've got to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And this was during C19. Pre C19. We had close to 400 people working in our organization. We just won at the Irish Franchise Awards. Things were incredible. And then C19 came along, changed everything for a lot of people. Had a lot of time on my hands. I was, working on myself. Because obviously, you can go into some dark places, and I don't want to go into dark places. I want to try and keep positive, have a positive attitude, right? So I was kind of working on myself and reading that quote, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you've got to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And I'm thinking, how do I build, rebuild our organization? How do I build our organization And of course, without spending more time at my desk, without spending more time on my phone, and I'm thinking about a new model. How do we build a new model, that makes the old model obsolete? Now, I want to, build something new without losing what I've already got, without losing what we've already built. How do we add to that? So I'm kind of thinking about this quote, and it's just beating me up all the time. This quote, it literally beats me up. It does. And, finally, we've kind of done it. We figured it out, and it came as a response to listening to reading two books, The Science of Getting Rich and Napoleon Hill's Master Key. And it was the Master Key. It was this part of the Master Key where it just all kind of fell into place. Everything fell into place. But one of the things, and in fact, I think we'll just start with this, The Science of Getting Rich, this chapter first. It's just a short chapter, right? So what I'm going to do is let me leave this quote on the screen, because that quote is quite profound to me. Do you know what I mean? It really is. I've got it on my wall. Build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. But it was all about the thinking. So look, let's just play this. Let me see if I can get this to work. I want to make sure I've got everything as it should. Maybe I will take that banner off because it's a bit kind of annoying. Is it? All right, we'll change this just for the sake of it. Right, so if there are ads, forgive me, we're watching it on YouTube. If there are, we'll just let them get to their skit and then we'll go, right? But let us see. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so I can fit all that stuff in my screen. Okay, right. Let's just listen to this chapter and then we'll listen to the other chapter.
How riches come to you. When I say that you do not have to drive sharp bargains, I do not mean that you do not have to drive any bargains at all, or that you are above the necessity for having any dealings with your fellow men. I mean that you will not need to deal with them unfairly. You do not have to get something for nothing, but can give to every man more than you take from him. You cannot give every man more in cash market value than you take from him, but you can give him more in use value than the cash value of the thing you take from him. The paper, ink, and other material in this book may not be worth the money you pay for it. But if the ideas suggested by it bring you thousands of dollars, you have not been wronged by those who sold it to you. They have given you a great use value for a small cash value. Let us suppose that I own a picture by one of the great artists, which, in any civilized community, is worth thousands of dollars. I take it to Baffin Bay, and by salesmanship, induce an Eskimo to give a bundle of furs worth $500 for it. I have really wronged him, for he has no use for the picture. It has no use value to him. It will not add to his life. But suppose I give him a gun worth $50 for his furs. Then he has made a good bargain. He has use for the gun. It will get him many more furs and much food. It will add to his life in every way. It will make him rich. When you rise from the competitive to the creative plane, you can scan your business transactions very strictly. And if you are selling any man anything which does not add more to his life than the thing he gives you in exchange, you can afford to stop it. You do not have to beat anybody in business. And if you are in business which does beat people, get out of it at once. Give every man.
So, even that just part alone, just that little bit alone for me. Chapter 6, The Science of Getting Rich. And I know that I just thought about it, before that I would just add this section before we get onto Napoleon Hill's Master Key. But, give more in use value than you take, right? That is such an interesting kind of concept, right? And the competitive, you've got to move from the competitive to the creative plane. When you start thinking about this, and this is why I love what we're about to do. This is why I love what we're actually doing. We're not about to do it, we're doing it. We started it already. So I'm super excited about it because, the business, the new model that we've created literally gives more in use value than we take. And it's built on the creative plane. It's literally, that's where we built it. We built it so that we're giving more in use value than what we're taking, and we're we're literally feeding the marketplace with, without competition. We're actually building, the competition. And it's exciting. So, look, I don't know if that makes any sense. It might make sense to you, and if it doesn't, that's fine. It's okay. Go and read those. Go and get a copy of The Science of Getting Rich. You can get it at Master Key Society. Listen to it, understand it. Like I've studied that book for a long time. For a long time. I've probably listened to that book, so even in the last 2 or 3 years, about 5 or 6 times, and I always get more from it. But that creative to the competitive plane, because we're always trying to compete with somebody else, when really you're only ever in competition with yourself. You're only like trying to beat what you did yesterday or what you did an hour ago. So you've got to get into that creative plane where you're serving other people, helping other people, giving more in use value than what you're taking from them. And that's what this new model that we've created has done. But I want you to listen to this, right? Because chapter 11, this is really where, it started to make sense to me, where it kind of all fell into place.
Where I shall present creative vision, the success principle which is responsible for the building of all of our plans, aims, and purposes. It has been said that the imagination is the workshop wherein we fashion the purposes of our brain and the ideals of our soul. I do not know of a better definition of imagination than this. There are 2 forms of imagination. First, there is synthetic imagination, which consists of organizing and putting together of recognized ideas, concepts, and facts arranged in a new combination. Very seldom does anyone create an idea or anything else absolutely new. Nearly everything known to civilization is but a combination of something that is old. Secondly, there is creative imagination, which operates through the 6th sense and has its base in the subconscious section of the brain and serves as the exclusive medium through which basically new ideas or facts are revealed. Let me give you some examples of synthetic imagination in action. 1. Edison's invention of the incandescent electric lamp was the creation of synthetic imagination because it was created by bringing together in a new combination 2 old and well-known principles. 2.
Look, if you want to learn a system that will simplify everything for you and give you predictable income, I want to invite you to a free training.
Clarence Saunders' idea on which the Piggly Wiggly store system was based was the result of synthetic imagination because he merely borrowed the self-help cafeteria plan and introduced it into the grocery store business. But despite the simplicity of the plan, it is said to have yielded its organizer $4 million during the first 4 years after it was put to work. 3. Henry Ford's first automobile was created through synthetic imagination by the simple procedure of bringing together the well-known method of transportation, the horse and buggy, and the steam-propelled thrashing machine. Both ideas were old, but it remained for Henry Ford to combine them in a new method of use, and he made himself the most distinguished industrialist of his era by his achievement, not to mention a fabulous fortune. 4. The man who dipped a hunk of ice cream in chocolate, placed a stick in it for a handle, and called it Eskimo pie, used synthetic imagination and started a new industry which still has a widespread outlet and grosses annually a huge sum. It is safe to assume that the creator of this simple plan of merchandising was well compensated for his use of his synthetic imagination. 5. F.W. Woolworth made use of synthetic imagination by the simple procedure of setting up a retail store in which a large variety of merchandise retailing at 5 and 10 cents per item was offered to the public, and lived to see his merchandising innovation start a series of similar retail stores which gross annually many millions of dollars in sales and made Woolworth rich in the bargain. Now, I shall give you some examples of creative imagination. 1. Edison's invention of the phonograph was the outgrowth of creative imagination because no part of his invention had ever been known or used previously. 2. Signor Marconi's invention of wireless communication was also the outgrowth of creative imagination because it was based on basically new ideas which never had been used previously. He was the first to discover the means by which the ether could be made to take the place of wires in the transmission of sound. 3, Madame Curie's discovery of radium was also the outgrowth of creative imagination because no one before her had ever revealed either the actual existence of radium or the method by which it could be recovered or refined. 4, Wilbur and Orville Wright's perfection of the modern airplane was partly the result of creative imagination and partly the result of synthetic imagination, because others previous to their time had discovered some of the ideas they used successfully, but they were the first to coordinate those ideas so they worked. 5, Robert G. Letourneau made effective use of creative imagination by building heavy dirt-removing machinery, which involved ideas never before used, although he was practically unskilled in engineering and had very little schooling of any kind. I worked with Mr. Letourneau for a year and a half, during which I saw him in action many times when he was drawing entirely upon the faculty of creative imagination and receiving his ideas from sources outside of his own immediate education or knowledge.
You maybe wondered whether I'd fallen asleep, then I hadn't. Do you know what I mean? I was just deeply engrossed in listening to it, you know? That synthetic imagination. Do you know, what struck me was, you know, when I think of to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete, and then I think of these synthetic ideas, I think, you know, because for me, where I was thinking that I had to do something new. I had to come up with something new. I had to create something new. Completely new, away from where I already was. And when I listened to this, and I was synthetic imagination and creative imagination, and especially when he brought up Henry Ford, it made me think about, you know, car manufacturers today. They're always building a new model, you know, that makes the old model obsolete. But what they do is they keep the things that actually work, you know, so it still has tires and wheels, still has windscreen wipers, still has, you know, an engine, still has, you know, mirrors and, you know, different things. It still has all the things that work, but then they create a new model and they make it better, right? So they make what they've got what they've got, but they make it better. And that's really where my thinking started to go. It wasn't about completely discarding everything that I'd done. It was about taking what works with what we've done and making it better. That's what it became, right? So I don't know if you're like me and maybe you're a little bit lost. I'm not lost anymore. Like, I know where I'm going. You know, I've rediscovered my purpose, right? And it was only because I did a talk on purpose, you know, a couple of weeks back, and I had to figure out, you know, I had to figure out why is that? Something going on here. Hold on a second. Just wondering why that's not working. Hold on. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out my purpose, because for me, purpose was this mystical thing. It was this mystical thing that I could never find. I was always kind of like, where are you, purpose? Where are you? I didn't know where it was. I was always looking for it. I was trying to figure out where my, you know, because I was thinking that my purpose was something that maybe I didn't know yet, or I hadn't experienced yet. How did I know if I was on the right purpose if I never experienced it? And then I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, hold on a second. Even though I know how to use that word, I know how to fit it into a sentence, I don't really know what it means. So I really kind of I wanted to understand, what does the word purpose mean? You know, so this is what it means. The reason for which something is created, the reason for which something is done, and the reason why something exists, right? So I started thinking about that, and I was thinking about it a lot. And when I think about the reason for which something is created, well, it has an intended purpose. It has intention. you know. And then when I think about the reason why something is done, it's done on purpose. It's deliberate, you know. And, you know, the reason why something exists, it's in purpose, it's expressed. So I kind of come to the realization that purpose is intended, it's deliberate, and it's expressed, right? So when I start thinking about, you know, my business, where I am, when you start thinking about, you know, what you do and where you are, you know, it's intended, it's deliberate, and it's expressed. Now, you know, you can be where you are right now and you can move in a new direction, and it can be intended, it can be deliberate, and it can be expressed, but sometimes you don't always do that. So, you know, listening to the Master Key Secrets by Napoleon Hill, listening to that other book, you know, The Science of Getting Rich, as well as other books. There's other books there that are really helpful. So, you know, you have to be very deliberate in what you do. And I think that this book is definitely going to get into some of that. So I'm kind of getting a little bit off track here. You're probably wondering, right? So, yes, you know, oh my God, this is what I was, you know, I was talking about. Purpose is a state of conscious being. You know, when I just think about what we were talking about there a second ago, where you're talking about, you know, purpose is intended, it's deliberate, and it's expressed. So purpose is a state of conscious being. And, you know, and when you think about that word, conscious being, this is crazy, right? So you've got to be in conscious thinking, conscious action, and conscious creativity. That's all of those things. Intended, you know, deliberate, expressed. You know, intended purpose, done on purpose. In purpose is creative. Done on purpose is action. You know, intended purpose, thinking. You know, like this is how I've come to realize what we're doing and where we're moving towards is absolutely in purpose with what we're trying to achieve. You know, so you've got to be on and you've got to live in purpose. Right, okay, let's just get back to this, because I could go on about that stuff. And maybe I will kind of go through that with you another time, purpose, because sometimes I think that, you know, like, I wasn't lost, but if someone was to ask me, what's your purpose? I wouldn't have been able to tell them, if I'm honest. You know, I probably would have made up something wishy-washy and everything else, and people would have went, yeah, that's amazing. But to be honest, I always thought that purpose was something else, that, you know, anyway, forget about it. Right, let's just get on with this. Outside his own imaginative. That's interesting. I don't know if you noticed that, where he talked about Marconi and the sound waves. He did this big experiment, you know, from America to the UK, you know, sound waves. And he mentioned the ether. He mentioned the sixth element. Yeah, unbelievable. Why would he do that? This is old, right? Obviously, they don't think these things, some of those things anymore. But it's interesting. That's why I love listening to this older stuff, because they have a different way of crafting their storytelling.
Now let me give you a few suggestions as to how you may be able to make profitable use of your imagination, keeping in mind that the faculty of your imagination, like every other faculty of your mind, becomes stale through disuse and alert through use. 1.
Monday CRM has the best AI features in the game.
Especially in sales.
Hands down.
So for me, email composition works like
Create a system of merchandising which can be carried on by the operators of gasoline filling stations throughout the nation, and you may make your idea yield you more profit than...
Now you're going to like this, right? Because he talks about something coming up. And I want you to think about this, because he mentions an idea to do with, I don't want to tell you, I don't want to spoil it, but you're going to hear it. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you hear it.
And Clarence Saunders made from his Piggly Wiggly store plan. Perhaps the system would consist of items which could be dispensed by coin in the slot machines. 2, create a plan or system which will cause motorists to be as courteous and thoughtful of others on the highway as they are in their own homes. And you may cut down the outrageous death rate by automobile accidents and make yourself both popular and rich. Perhaps you might add to this idea some plan of engineering by which public highways would be so operated as to force motorists to drive with greater care. And you might also create some practical plan by which motorists of good reputation would be deputized as auxiliary traffic officers with two-way radios in their cars and authority to give tickets and make arrests. 3, create a satisfactory substitute for cigarettes, and you may make yourself richer than you need to be. 4, give me an acceptable method for taking these principles of success to children of the graded school age, and I will tell you how to make yourself rich both in money and in happiness, which comes from contributions of service which benefit posterity by improving the youth. Give me a plan which will arouse and alert people to recognize and make use of the potential of their own minds, and I will give you a job for the remainder of your life at pay which perhaps you never dreamed of getting. 6, bring me an acceptable storybook slanted to the interest of children from 6 to 12 years of age, based upon the 17 principles of the science of success, and I will ensure the publication and distribution of the book on a scale which will make you richer than you need to be. This idea probably can be best refined through the mind of a woman who understands children, loves them, and can speak in terms that will get their attention. And right here, in case you have not already recognized the fact, I am bringing you very near the point where people sometimes tune in on their creative imagination and come up with ideas which benefit great numbers of people and make themselves popular and rich. I am going to give you these suggestions.
Now, if you want to get those suggestions of creative ideas, by all means, go to the Master Key Society and find Napoleon Hill's Master Key Complete Series. It's definitely worth doing it. But did you catch that one? You know, I think whoever came up with vaping must have just watched this. They must have just watched it and thought, right, okay, I'm going to come up with an idea. And then he talked about it then, saying, look, you know, hearing these ideas, you know, you're going to start tapping into your creative imagination. So you have that synthetic imagination, you've got that creative imagination, you know, and that synthetic imagination is powerful because you're not having to come up with that new idea. You're literally taking ideas that already exist and rearranging them in a different way to change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And that's what you know, many companies, many organizations are forever reinventing themselves, you know, through building a new model, you know, whether it be a work practice, you know, whether it be a new part, whatever it is that makes the other part, you know, because it's more efficient, it makes the other part obsolete, right? So that's really what we've been working on, you know. So, you know, let's have a look. That's what we've been working on here, you know, with the Pets of this Island Academy of Excellence, you know, where you can start your own pet care company under the training and guidance of a trusted brand. You know, my organization, you know, you get an associate license, you know, turn your passion for pets into a profitable business, you know, join the Pets of this Island Academy of Excellence. And it's just incredible. There's no monthly fees, no royalties, and 100% of the earnings stay in your pocket. You know, look, we're talking about, you know, give more in use value than you take. You know, this is an incredible opportunity. You know, if you know, like if you've ever wanted to start your own pet care company or pet care business, you know, or even if you want to grow the business that you have, this is what I believe is going to be, you know, the opportunity for anybody to really scale and really grow. You know, ongoing training, coaching, support, weekly Zoom calls, Q&As, hot seats, all kinds of different things to get your questions answered. Instant credibility with our brand, proven success. People say to me all the time, can you guarantee it works? And I think, well, obviously, because look, we've already done it with a proof. You know, let me ask you a question. Can you guarantee you'll do the work? And if the answer is yes, you're going to be successful. It's no more complicated than that. If you can follow a simple process and learn to do things in a certain way, get back to that book, The Science of Getting Rich. It's going to talk about doing things in a certain way. It's going to talk about all of these things, all of the principles. You know, I think we've created a model here that is built on the principles within The Science of Getting Rich. the principles laid out in Think and Grow Rich, the principles laid out, in the Master Key Secrets, by Napoleon Hill. And it's just incredible. So look, get here and look, go to this website. Go to, where is it? Go here, petsofdesireland.com/academy. That's this website here. There's a video down at the bottom. Easy to get started. Starting or growing your pet care business. Look, watch this video. It's 20 minutes long. I'm in it. Of course I am. But watch this video, and it's gonna answer a lot of your questions. I don't know. Can we watch a bit here now? Look at that. There's two of me on the screen. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Mick McQuillan. I'm here from Pets of Island, the Pets of Island Academy of Excellence, and I'm going to get some of your questions answered today. Amazing. If you're thinking about joining the academy, recommended most, well then this is not the thing for you. We're going to actually give you a page on our website. What do you mean by that? Bio and everything. That's one of the first things that we're actually going to do with it. It's one of the first modules that we cover. Creating your bio and building your brand, right? As an associate with Pets of the Get down here. So watch this video. It's definitely worth it. Take the first steps today. Chance to start a rewarding business with no monthly fees, no royalty fees. Keep 100% of the money with ongoing training, coaching, and weekly Zoom calls. You'll have all the support you need to succeed. So get down here. Look, I'm ready. Sign me up. I'm in. Sign me up now. There's my number. Give me a call. Happy to answer your questions. I really am. Because if you've got questions, it means that you've got doubts. And if you've got doubts, this is going to affect your outcomes. What we want certainty. We want to have clear, defined goals. And that's one of the things, actually, I want to get to here. Because in this video, Napoleon Hill's Master Keys, right? One of the very first definitiveness of purpose, right? Can you see that there? I don't think you can. Definiteness. I can't even say it. Right. Hold on a second. Right. Yeah, that word there, of purpose, right? You want to listen to that. Listen to that, because it's going to give you an insight into how to create something, right? So look, remember that word, purpose. The reason why something is created, the reason why something is done, and the reason why something exists, right? So purpose, the reason why something is created, the reason why something is done, the reason why something exists. It's intended purpose. It's done on purpose. It's deliberate. It's action. It's in purpose. It's expressed. It's creative. So, I can't say that word. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try, right? So, look, get here and just watch it from the start. Mastermind principles, going the extra mile, applied faith, pleasing personality, self-discipline, positive mental attitude, enthusiasm. Look, learning from adversity, that's a great chapter. That is a great chapter. If you're thinking about doing something and you don't know what to do, get in there and listen to that chapter, learning from adversity. Because, what did I learn? We were going through adversity during C19. Up until that point, we just won at the Irish Franchise Awards. We'd set up several franchises. We'd close to 400 people working in our organization. It was incredible. Something came along and the environment changed everything, turned everything upside down, not just for me, but for a lot of people, right? We had to learn from that adversity. Now, we could just rebuild and do it the way we were doing it, but I didn't want that. I wanted to change something. I wanted to build a new model that made the old model obsolete. I'm stuck looking at this quote on my wall. And I wanted to do something, made something obsolete. And I'm listening to The Science of Getting Rich. I'm listening to these books. I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich. And all I keep hearing is you've got to give more in use value than you take. You have to move from the competitive to the creative. And I believe that that's what we've done. And we've done it using this synthetic imagination and creative imagination, learning from adversity, and thinking in a certain way, because we want to create certain things. So I'm super excited about it. In fact, hold on a second. Yep. Sign me up. Sign me up. Pet Sitters Island. Why join us? Telling you, go here. PetSittersIsland.com Academy. Or if you're not sure you want to join right now, just join the waitlist. Join the waitlist. What do you get from the waitlist? Love animals, ready to build a life around that. If you dream of working with animals, being your own boss and building a business that you truly love, Pet Sitters Island Academy, his spaces are going to be limited for sure. Who we're looking for, animal lovers ready to turn their passion into purpose. People who want freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment in their work, driven individuals who want to grow a meaningful, profitable business. Future pet care leaders who believe in quality, compassion, and community, right? This is something that's incredible because what do? We help pet owners feel better about something that makes them feel bad. Our business is built on service. People think that, having a pet care company means that you walk dogs and feed cats and things like that. Well, you do, but that's just a task that you're performing. What you're really doing is helping someone feel better about something that makes them feel bad. You're solving somebody's problem. And that's a much, much bigger thing, right? So look, whether you're starting from scratch, ready to scale, this is your chance to join a proven, powerful community that's helped hundreds of pet care professionals across Ireland. 30 hours of training, more than 30 hours, mentorship for myself and Kate, weekly live coaching, done for you marketing content. That's a big one, right? Access to pet care professionals, 100% ownership, no royalties, no monthly fees, keep 100% of your earnings. Where have you ever heard of that before? Where? Only when you start your own business, right? Start your own business, but you don't always get the help, the coaching, support, and everything that you need. You've got to learn from yourself. This system is literally going to save you a decade in time to actually get to a six-figure income, right? So I think that you could do this definitely in 3 to 5 years, easy 6 figures in 3 to 5 years. If that's something you're interested in, well, look, reach out, get in touch. As I said, my number is right here. You can call me right here. My number is just here. It's on the Academy page. Go to petsittersisland.com/Academy. What was the other one? Let me put that up there. So this is the Academy page, right? Where you can literally join right away, get started. Picture of me, you can see that's me, right? That's my 2 dogs, Joey and Coco. Sadly, this little creature here, Joey, I love him to bits. He died 2 weeks ago so unexpectedly, which is so sad. Coco, we still have her. She's so old. God, heartbreaking, I know. But one of the things that really helped me over the last couple of weeks was just being grateful. Being grateful that we had him in our life. Do you know what I mean? Just thinking about that and just being grateful just helped me so much. And I was saying it the other day, actually, that I'd asked the universe, right? One of Joey's things, I'll just tell you quickly, one of Joey's things, he would spin around all the time. Even if you were just walking, he would spin around you, right? He'd spin around your feet. And, or if you were going up the stairs, he'd try and run around you as you're going up the stairs. He was a crazy little dog. And I'd said to the universe, give me a sign, show me a sign that Joey's okay. If you remember, there was something, I can't remember who said that. But anyway, I'd heard someone saying, I thought, I'm just going to ask the universe, send me a sign that Joey's all right. So, what was it, Sunday? I think I said that on Sunday. No, Saturday. It doesn't matter. Anyway, about a week ago, I'd said this. And then, it must have been Sunday because it was when I got back, or Monday morning when I found it. But anyway, so my wife picked up a bit of litter blew into our garden. Now we live out in the countryside, right? A bit of litter blew into our garden, and Kate picked it up and she just put it on her car. She just put it on the windscreen, and forgot all about it. And I came back and I didn't see it at that time. Actually, I got up the next morning, went outside, saw this thing on Kate's car, and I picked it up. I was like, "What the hell is this? How did that get there?" Because it was like kind of underneath the windscreen wiper. I said, "What the hell is this?" So and I just scrunched it up, put it in my pocket. I wondered, has someone been down the drive? Now, remember, we live out in the middle of nowhere. I thought, what is this? And stuck it in my pocket, and then I thought, what is this? And I just got it out and I opened it up, and it was from a donut company. This donut company is like 60 miles away in Dublin. I thought, how the hell did that get here? Of course, someone could have just thrown it out the window, right? But and I was looking at it, and I was thinking, what is this? A donut company? And I was looking at it, and then on it, it said, "Circles in Obsession." And I thought, is that the sign? Is that the sign? But the funny thing is, I was out with Coco earlier that day, right? We were walking down the lane. And this little white butterfly came flying past me. And I said to the universe, and I'd not seen this bit of paper at this stage actually. And I'd said to the universe, show me a sign. Show me a blue butterfly as a sign that Joey's okay. And I actually went off, did some stuff. And as I was leaving the client's house, this little blue butterfly flew past me. I was like, what the hell is that? And it went into a bush. And I was like, show it me again. It came flying out of the bush and went off down the road. A blue butterfly. Never seen a blue butterfly before. And so I think the universe has sent me 2 signs that he's okay. And in fact, to be honest, I think Joey sent me one himself. I'm not going to tell you about that because it's going to make me cry. But, oh, damn. But I'm so grateful that we had him, for sure. But listen, maybe this is the sign that you've been looking for to start your own business. To start your own pet care company and take control of your life. I truly believe that we have created something here that gives more in use value than we take than we take from you, right? I absolutely believe that, and it's built on that creative plane. It's not to be in competition with anybody else, but it's to be creative. It's to give you more so that you can do something for yourself, so that you can build a business that you own, that you love, that you're proud of as an associate with Pet Sitters Ireland, giving you that credibility. So, we're doing this so that you don't have to figure it out for yourself because we've already figured it out. It's one of the reasons why we're so good at what we do. So look, go to petsittersireland.com/academy to join the academy. If you're not sure you want to join the academy, you just want to learn more about it, go to this website here. In fact, to be honest, an easier one to get to that, an easier one to remember. Did I get rid of that? No, I didn't think I had. Yeah, here. You can go to this waitlist, the one that's just scrolling down below at the moment. Waitlist, join now, mpmcquillan.com, mpmcquillan, McQuillan, McQuillan.com, that's me. Michael, Patrick, McQuillan, mpmcquillan.com. Go there. That's going to bring you to the Academy of Excellence page where you can actually just fill out your name, location. Now, of course, you can see all of these are in Ireland, north and south. So we're open right across the country. Some of these areas aren't officially open yet. That's why it's on a wait list. And if you go here, other country, just means if you're living in another country other than the Republic in Northern Ireland, you'd like to join the wait list, just let us know what country you're in. And, you're not, by joining the wait list, you're not committing to anything. You're not buying, booking, or committing to do anything. You're just collecting more information. You're going to get a couple of emails, might even get a phone call from me to have a conversation just to see. So listen, check that out. And look, what else have I got to say? Nothing. In fact, the last thing that you want to do is definitely get back here and read some of this stuff. Share screen, hold on, share. Science of Getting Rich, right? One of my #1 books. I'm sure there are other books that are equally as good. But this is one of my favorites. It just is one of my favorites. I just love this book so much, just because it's just incredible. Easy to listen to. It's only a couple of hours long. You can listen to it twice a week if you wanted to. But I recommend studying it. You've got to study it, right? Because you'll hear different things in it. So look, check that out. Check out the Napoleon Hill Master Key 1954 complete series, right? And again, Master Key Society make it so easy just to get around.
Hey, if you want to get across London, you do it by tube.
Just to get around and navigate these books by just flicking to different kind of chapters if you want to. Very, very easy. Cosmic Habit, Napoleon Hill, How to Visualize Things and Grow Rich. You know, amazing. Amazing. Look, that book is there, 10 hours long. This is a great book. You can find it here. And again, you know, go and join or subscribe to the Master Key Society. The Master Key Society is for seekers in the pursuit of wisdom, meaning, and self-improvement. I like that, self-improvement, you know, because we all want better, right? We all want better, you know. So look, there's lots and lots of books in here. The Dynamic Law of Prosperity. That sounds interesting. The Master Key Part 4 to 6. Master Key 1 to 3. There is a book here which was Hindu breathing technique. Where was it? Your word is your wand. Yeah. Wicked imagination. The art of getting money. Richest man in Babylon. I mentioned it already. Science of getting rich. Perfect. That's where we are here with this one. The Hindu Yogi. Science of Breath. That's a great book. Right. Now, I don't know if somebody read this when they were speaking to me 30 years ago. It wasn't 30 years ago. How long would it have been? Maybe nearly was 30 years ago. We just moved out to the countryside. And I'm a city boy, right? So, you know, I'm a city boy. And when we moved out to the countryside,
it is generally spoken of as the chat.
One of my biggest challenges, you know, like when you live in the city, there's all these different things that are going on. It's busy, right? There's time reminders, there's buses coming past at the same time every day, kids going to school, people going to work, coming to and from work, everything's every day, there's a structure to it. When you move out to the countryside, you know, you don't have any of those time reminders. There's none of these things. And every day feels like a Sunday, time slows down. It's just got different challenges. You know, you have to, you know, you learn quickly that if you forget a loaf of bread or you don't run out of milk, you know, it's like an hour round trip just to go and get some milk. So you have to be more prepared. You have to think in a little differently. But when I moved out to the countryside, I didn't really know. In fact, to be honest, the biggest challenge that I had was the noise. And I'm not talking about the noise in the countryside. I'm talking about the noise between my ears, the chatter. I was talking to myself all the time. And this was when I was still working in construction. So I'd be having conversations in my head with myself about what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, analyzing different things that had already happened, how I was going to address them, how I was going to fix them, how I was going to change them, and everything else like this. And I was just in my head so much. It was so difficult. It was such a difficult time. Because there was no distractions. No distractions. So I spoke to one of my mentors, as Joey Tribbiani would say, one of my mentos. And he said, Mick, you need to practice being bored. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, you need to sit down, you need to practice, you need to sit down, turn everything off, no mobile phone, no nothing like this. Just sit down in a quiet place, and breathe. Just focus on your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Practice your breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Don't think about anything else other than your breathing. In, out, and listen. Right? Listen to the sounds that you can hear. So I did this, and it literally changed my life. Right? The chattering in my head went away, never came back. Unbelievable. And I think whoever told me that, I think quite possibly may have been aware of this book. I don't know if we can get a picture of the... Can you see that? No. Right, I don't know what that is. Excuse me. Yeah, so this book, The Hindu Yogi Secret Science of Breathing. This book here, if you take this book and just have a listen to it and then put into practice what it says, could quite possibly change your life. you know. So I recommend that. Right, okay. What else do we have? Nothing. Chapter 6, the science of getting rich. You know, give more in use value than you take. Absolutely. And then, of course, episode 11 of Napoleon Hill's Master Key to which is synthetic imagination, creative imagination, those things. Go and research those things. Go and think about them. Go and, you know, see how you can apply them to your life, right? So that you can make your life better, because that's what we want. And, you know, if you're interested in finding out more about what I'm doing, what we're doing in our organization and our business, not on a small scale, on a big scale, this is for everybody. Everybody who wants better, wants change, wants to make a difference in other people's lives, built on service, built on helping other people feel better about something that makes them feel bad. If that's something you feel like you want to be part of, I want to talk to you. Reach out, get in touch. You know where to find me. And listen, I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite videos. This Bob Proctor video, you know, if you can dream it, you can do it. And of course, I think Napoleon Hill talks about, certainly in that Definiteness of Purpose, he talks about that if you can imagine it, you can create it. And Bob Proctor says the same thing. If you can create that in your mind, you can create it in real life. So, you know, this is what this video is all about. If you can dream it, you can do it. You know, you just have to believe. You have to have that, you know, and all of these books that I'm talking to you about, you know, and it's not just about reading books. You've got to apply it. You've got to use the wisdom that's in there. You know, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. And this is what we do a lot of the time. We're thinking about how we got to change something. You know, to change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete, right? That's that Buckminster Fuller quote. Definitely worth, you know, getting something that's going to inspire, that's going to make you think. That quote just makes me think. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. And nearly every day we get up and do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then we wonder why things won't change. To change something, we've got to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. What does that mean? Doing things differently, thinking differently, creating new habits. I don't know what it is for you. You're going to have to figure it out. You know, having new challenges. Part of the book, or one of the lessons, is learning from adversity. It was the lesson before, episode 10 in that Napoleon Hill Master Key. Episode 10, learning from adversity. You know, to change something, build a new model that makes that existing model obsolete. You know, like when we have adversity, there's a lesson that we can learn in it. It's about learning that lesson and applying it in our lives instead of doing the same thing over again, you know, and having the same problems in our life. You know, I know sometimes people think that when you're in business and you're successful in business, you don't have any problems. Trust me, you do. You have much bigger problems. You have bigger problems. You know, like the people who work in our organization, I love them all. Maybe they're worried or wondering about how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to pay bills, especially if they get an unexpected bill. You know, like, now I personally don't worry about it, but, you know, we have to generate enough money to pay everybody's bills, right? So you know, that's a bigger problem, right? So it's not a problem, you know, but you know what I mean. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Right, listen, look, this Bob Proctor video, I love it because it's just got so much in it. And that last bit at the end, you know, listen to the end, that last bit at the end where he talks about, you know, daydreamers of the day, they live their vision, you know, or dreamers of the day live their vision. Interesting, right? They're living their dreams. They're living their vision. And what is vision? Purpose. It's deliberate, it's intentional, and it's expressed. You know, so you've got to be on purpose. You've got to be in purpose. And if you're wondering what your purpose is, to be honest, phone me up. We'll have a conversation, right? Ring me and say, Mike, I don't know what purpose is, and we'll get into it. We'll find out. We'll figure it out. What do you do? What do you like doing? What do you currently do? Like, if you love doing what you're doing, you're already on purpose. Like if you remember a couple of shows back, Joe and I were talking about in purpose, on purpose, and different things like this. Everything is on purpose. Everything. You know, everything is in purpose, right? Everything is created or expressed. Everything. You know, everything is deliberate. It's intentional. You know, it's funny because when I was talking to somebody about, you know, purpose the other week, the only time anybody ever used purpose in a sentence with me is when I did something bad and they said, you did that on purpose. When I do something great, no one ever turns around and said, Mike, you did that on purpose. Well done. Do more of that. You know, so I don't know. Listen, watch this video. I love it. Watch it to the end and reach out, get in touch. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, share the video. This is just fun for me, you know. All right, listen, see you guys next week. And fingers crossed, Joe will be back safe and sound. All right, guys. Right.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. Now we say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind wakened the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.